be the longest crush ever. If I ever get the fuck, it be the longest bus ever. Love is a drug like the strongest stuff ever. And fuck it, I'm on one. And my homies gon' disown a nigga. Like, give me $20, and it's stupid how you get the collar.
Okay, so hey guys, okay, so I'm just busy with something, right? So as we are now looking at this thing, right? I want you guys to see what we're actually gonna be talking about today on the Sunday market breakdown. So obviously, let me just move this a bit higher so that like everyone can hear me, right? As you can see that what we're gonna be looking at today on this Sunday market breakdown. So we're gonna be looking at what happened during the week, last week, before last week, and before the last week, because I've been off for some time now, and but if if you noticed, I've been dropping shorts, right? So I'd like to keep you guys updated on what I'm actually seeing on price, as this is what we actually predicted the other day. You can see the shorts here. We predicted that the price is gonna move lower, then come into this favor look at then start moving lower, right? So that's what actually happened, right? And then I said from here it's gonna keep going high, right? So I'm gonna explain on all of that, but for now let me just give you all some time to actually join the live, and to also um let you guys give you some time to actually prepare yourself for this session, right? So for now let me just chill, and obviously everything here Alright, so let's start rolling now. Yes, as you can see that we're actually on the Nasdaq price action, right? We're looking at Nasdaq. First off, we're gonna be looking at Nasdaq, then we're gonna be looking at gold later on this live, right? So what we're actually working on here is really simple, but first of all, okay, so I hope you guys can hear me, because okay, let me just double check that for the last time, right, so that I can actually say that we are live. Okay, so okay, so guys, as you can see that we're actually live. Everything is working perfectly, so I hope you guys can see my screen also as well. But what we're gonna be looking at right now is actually we're gonna be looking at this Nasdaq price action. So since everything's done, so let me just go in here. So what do we have here? This is a live price action, right? So what do we have? We have Nasdaq. Let me just remove this a bit so that I can create more room. Okay, so what we're looking at, Nasdaq. So as you can see that earlier, before this move, right, before this happened, right, I explained that the price actually was gonna come here before the CPI. CPI was released here, I think. Oh yes, on Wednesday. I said that if the price come here before the CPI news, then we're gonna be looking at buying Nasdaq right from that point, because this was the threshold that I actually assumed that the price is gonna likely draw into, then start moving high, right? As you can see, the price actually came into this side liquidity down there. As you can see, then it came back to this fair value gap here, which we actually respected, by the way. If I can change this color to blue so that like I can be able to distinguish between this and that. So as you can see that the price actually came to that and start moving higher, right? On this day, on the Friday, right, it closed above here, attempting to close this gap, right? But because we had already tapped into this fair value gap once, right, so it was very unlikely for the price to actually tap into this and start moving lower, right? Why? Because the price was not going to be doing that, and also because taking into account that we actually had, okay, maybe I'm going too fast, and also taking into account that we were actually like there was I'm not sure if I can recall perfectly, but we had SpaceX joining Nasdaq, right, during that week. So obviously it made a lot of sense for the price to actually drop and start moving high, right, because that was just the manipulation side. So everyone is actually going high there, it was actually going long, right? But then that's not what they actually want you to do. Actually, it's better to wait and see and just look at the price and understand that this is it, right? Okay, so as you guys can see here that we actually on an uptrend right now. Where is my point of interest? My point of interest is on the point on the price 30,776.91, right? That's what I'm actually looking at. That's what I want to see the price reaching to, right, at this point from this week on Monday, because this is Sunday, right? On Monday up until Friday, I want to see the price reaching there, because there's actually nothing for the price to actually go lower for, right? Because we actually swept the sell-side liquidity down there, and we also came into that this fair value gap, right? Okay, so let me just explain this move real quick before we can actually move forward, right? So what happened here, the price on Friday closed here, then on Monday it opened with a gap. Why the gap, right? Okay, so I assume and I believe that the price was actually gonna do that. Why? Because we were actually processing the IPO numbers, right? I might be wrong on that, but looking at this price action, I want to see something. I wanna make a perfect explanation of why the price actually moved higher and why did it gap. So usually what happens when it gapped is if like there's something that happened over the weekend, right, which could actually impact the market positively or negatively. Usually we do have these gaps, right? Simple as that. So what happened here, because we had this fair value gap, then it turned into an I fair value gap. What is an I fair value gap? Simple, right? An I fair value gap is a fair value gap which turned into, okay, let me just make a practical example before I can actually move forward, right? Okay, as you can see, this was the fair value gap for going lower, right, for sell side, right, sell side delivery, right? So what happened, the price actually moved higher and closed above it, so violating the whole narrative that we're actually gonna go lower, right? Okay, so what does that mean? It means that there's a change of direction, right? So the price is not gonna actually move lower because we already violated the fair value gap, which is now an I fair value gap, which is gonna be using to trade to the opposite direction of what we actually expected, right? As we were expecting that the price was gonna drop lower when it comes to this, right? Not here per se, but here, right? On Friday, on Monday open, right? Only if it opened here, then start moving lower, then close above here, then we could have went with the narrative that this is still set side, right? Set side delivery. Could have went with that narrative, but because the price did not actually do that, it closed above it. So it was very, very, very impossible for the price to actually reach lower. But then what happened from that point? The price actually went lower to this I fair value gap, this fair value gap, which turned into an I fair value gap. Then what did happen after that? What happened after that? The price started moving high, right? Closed the gap, then started moving high. Where is it rushing to? Okay, so the price moved like this. So it's moved from a sell side liquidity to buy side liquidity. I'm just gonna say it like that because that's the simplest way you can actually name it. I'm not actually naming it. No, I'm not actually naming it because it's a concept which already exists, right? So I might be going fast, but I will try and be slower, right? Okay, so this turned into an I fair value gap. Then the price started moving high. Why did the price start moving higher, right? Because we're actually rushing to these, right? This high. This is the highest high Nasdaq has ever went to. So Nasdaq is actually a bullish bullish market, right? So obviously it makes lot of sense for it to actually drop a bit lower than continue going high, right? It makes a lot of sense. Okay, so moving to lower time frame, because this is what we're already looking at for this week's price action. We're looking to see if the price can actually come here. From here, then we can look at it going high and high and high and high, because we don't have any reason why the price can actually go down at this point right now, at this moment. But something may change over the weekend, a war may arise, anything can happen right from that point. But what we're actually looking at this price action, we're looking to see if the price can actually tap into 30,776.91, right? That's what we're actually looking at, nothing else. So let's just frame that in lower time frames. We're going to be moving to 15-minute time frame so that like we can actually see that. Okay, we're still connected here. Okay, we're still connected. So I don't know, but I think my network is doing me dirty here. Okay, so it's cool. Let me try and refresh here. Okay, so let me try and refresh here. Let's see if we can actually get this squeeze of that. I guess I'm not actually sure right now whether we were actually running live or what, because what just happened is crazy. Okay, so it seems like the price is that everything is working perfectly. Why are they trying to hack me? Why are they fucking hacking me during the stream? Okay, so this thing is just refusing to open here. So I'm not sure whether it's the. I'm not sure. So at this point going forward, I think the stream is actually interrupted. Okay, so I don't know what's going on here, because I thought that we actually solved that problem, but looking at it, it's still here. Okay, so I don't know what actually happening here at this moment. Let me just rephrase that a bit. Okay, so as you guys can see that we're actually back live. Okay, let me just do it one more time so that like we can actually confirm that we're really live now, because I don't know what actually happened there. But okay, so let me just check that out. Okay, so it looked like we're back live. Okay, so as you guys can see that. Okay, so we're back live now. Okay, let's do it. As I said that we're gonna be moving lower now. We're gonna be moving to again to 15 minutes, right? So let's move to 15 minutes. Let me just drag this back up. Okay, so as you can see here. Okay, so I'm just gonna remove this because it makes a lot of noise and I don't like noise at all. But let's look at this recent price action and why the price actually came into this. So I'm just gonna use this one as where the price was actually drawn into, right? And also I don't want to use the price action which is not actually in line with what we're actually doing here, because that would mean something else, right? But we're not going to look at Friday because Friday was a holiday, so obviously we're not going to be looking at that. Then okay, let's look at 18th of of June, right? Okay, almost said March. Okay, starting off here, we're just gonna be looking at this price action, right? And even more, let me just remove this, but you guys get the picture. Wait, this was Friday. This is this day, right? Now then on Friday, Friday's price. Okay, let's look at this day so that we can look at the recent price action, not the. Okay, let's look at which one is Friday. Friday is 19th, right? So let's look at these. Okay, yeah, so I think I was actually right to put it here. Right, as you can see that the price is actually left this intentionally, right? As you can see. But before that, why did the price actually come here? If you can look at the far right, on the far left, right, you can probably see that we have this here. That's why the price actually went there, and we also had this order block right there. So I'm not going to dwell on that, but what we're going to be looking at, we're going to be looking at 9:30, which is New York time. So we're going to be looking at this, right? This window up until, like, let me say, up until 11. Right, up until this time. Let me show you like that. This is the market that this is the price where the market trades, right? This is where the market when you say I'm trading New York or I'm trading I forgot the name. It's called it's regular trading hours. When you say I'm trading I'm on regular trading hours, this is what I mean. Then there's a regular trading hours, there's electronic trading hours, right? So electronic trading hours is more like 24 hours not 24, 23 hours a day, right, on Nasdaq and gold. Then when I said I'm trading the regular trading hours, it means I start trading from 9:30, which is the New York open, up until 4:30, right, when where the market closes, right? So it's only a few hours a day. So okay, so we're gonna be looking at this price action and troubleshooting it on why it actually went all the way high, like why did it not come down or what. But looking at that thing, and as we discussed that we are actually looking. Okay, let me just confirm that we're actually rolling here. Okay, so I'm not sure if like that's too much, but as you can see here that we actually on this, right, on this price action, we're actually looking at this and why did the price actually go high, right? As you can see, if you remember perfectly that we said before we actually started the whole thing, we said that on a daily time frame we're actually looking to see if the price can actually go high, right? That's the key right there. That's why we in these lower time frames looking if the price can actually draw higher and higher, right? That's what we're actually looking for. So obviously the higher time frame, you're gonna be always be in line with it because you understand that on the lower time frame we have a target, which is that point of interest that we had on a daily time frame, right? So let's move to 1 minute because I actually traded 1 minute. I don't see a thing here, but that's just me. I like it when it takes me in and takes me out. So as you can see, if you can look at this price, you can say, this is such a messy price action, but no, not at all. This is a perfect price action, right? So for me, I usually focus on these small moves, right? Who's calling me now? So, oh no, I don't think anyone is calling me. Okay, no one is calling. Okay, so okay, let me just put this on. No, I'm not gonna put it. Okay, let me tell this person that I'm gonna be live. So, what we're actually looking at here. Hopefully, just solved me right there. Okay, so what do we have here? We have this low, right? Which the price actually respected, by the way. What did I just do? What? I did not actually know that I can do that. So this is exactly what just happened, right? So as you can see that the price actually went lower right here, right? Why did the price actually come to this? If we can look at this here. You can probably see that we had this low here, and beneath it we don't have anything the price can actually reach for, right, except this fair value gap, which we actually respected, by the way. Let me push my limits and put it here, but still get the picture, right? So this here was filled, so the price actually went high on that. So obviously the price was just like, nah bro, I'm not gonna go there because I've already went there, so why should I just do that for you, right? Okay, so this is the sell side liquidity. The price opened here at 9:30, then it started moving lower, right? If you can see this price, it made a lot of sense why the price can actually go lower, right? But if you can look after it opened, right, you can probably see that we had the fair value gap here, right? We had this fair value gap, which the price actually respected, by the way. Went back to it, then started moving lower to this, right? But also looking at this point, looking at this, you can probably see that this was just making enough sense for the price to actually move lower, right? But because we actually waited and expected to see the price going high, right, so we were not able to engage on that because it was just like something like, okay, so I just say that I'm going to somewhere, right? But then I changed my mind and say, nah, I'm no longer going there, I'm just gonna go the other direction. But then I understand that it's very important for me to actually go there, but I decide to do something else right now. That's how I feel like when I betray my setup from the start. So looking at this price action, right, you can see that we actually formed this high on 9:30, right? So as we formed this high, so it made a lot of sense why the price can actually try to reach back into that. But because also the fact that on a daily time frame, we were actually looking forward to see if the price can actually move high, right? So that's a betrayal right there if we can take this trade going lower, right? But yes, we can, but if you like get in and get out, you can, but if you're not doing that, then you can't, because you're gonna be holding, then the price is gonna turn against you, then you're not gonna be able to recognize other opportunities, because your mind has actually been programmed to actually see the selling opportunities only. So that's how you actually limit yourself, because you don't actually see or able to perceive other opportunities, because you have this fixed thing that, okay, the price is actually gonna go this direction, and when it does not, you actually fail to take that into accountability, that okay, the price has actually changed direction, right? But because I'm in the trade, I would hate to actually exit this trade, then look at it and go into other direction, or just like maybe if it was a pullback, then I just took my trade off, right? Then the price just ran, or the trade just ran straight to my take profit. Then I regret that, and I try to sneak back in. Then that becomes a problem, because you become a hold to your own account, right? Which is bad, and I would actually not advise you to do that at all. So looking back at this price action, as we're actually looking forward to actually buy this thing, right? What do we have here? We have this fair value gap right there, which we actually respected, by the way. The price came back to this, then started moving higher, right? Why did the price actually stop here? Because we had this fair value gap, right? This big fair value gap. I think a lot of people acted on it, but I'm not actually on that narrative that people actually act on this price for it to actually go high, right? But then we would have entered here. Let me just I've not used this, I've not been able to use this for quite some time. Okay, so as then we put our take profit there, right? Look at the trade. We entered here, the price went there, then started going lower, right? Came back to this, but that did not come to the last line, or the last candlestick during the the regular trading hours, right? But then what happened from that point? The price started moving high, right? Opened a fair value gap here and did not actually fill it, which is great, by the way. I like that. Then went all the way up, then started like doing this, like it was like signaling that okay, no, I want to go down now. But because a lot of things had happened before, so obviously this is the second time we're gonna be tapping in this thing, so obviously it made a lot of sense for it to actually rip higher, because a lot of people are actually betting on this thing and say, okay, no, I see that the price is actually trying to move higher, right? But then I don't feel like buying today, I want to sell. So that's why the price actually ripped a bit higher here, moved higher, took people out, because if you entered around here, then you would put a stop loss here, right? So it made a lot of sense why you would actually been ripped higher than taking your account out in a second, right? Then came back to this I fair value gap. This one was a fair value gap, then turned into an I fair value gap, so obviously it made a lot of sense for it, for the price to actually reject it and start moving high, right? As you can see here, I would say profit or hit, then that's it. So I'm not gonna dwell on this price action because I still have gold to cover. So obviously I cannot actually say on lower time frame when the price is actually gonna go to on lower time frames when it opens, right? But for that matter, I would actually appreciate to see if the price can actually reach at least to this. I would actually greatly appreciate that. Why would I would really appreciate to see if the price can actually come to this. Why? Because we have a lot of orders resting below here, so obviously it makes a lot of sense for the price to actually come here before it can start moving high, right? So moving to gold, because we cannot waste a lot of time on Nasdaq, because I've already annotated the whole thing. Okay, so this thing is keep happening again. It's happening again. I don't get it. Because the last time I was using this thing, it was pushing like perfectly. Or is it because like I spend a lot of time on this thing? I don't get it. Because the Nasdaq is there, dog. I don't get it. Like, why is it doing that? It's just crazy. Okay, so after countless hours of troubleshooting this thing, I don't actually understand why it's doing all that. But we're gonna be moving to gold now, just to save some time. Moving to gold just to save some time now. Then. Okay, so on gold, what do we have on gold? Gold is actually beautiful, dog. Okay, so I just said in offensive word right there. So as you see that this is what we actually expected on gold, right? For the last week, what we actually expected on gold is that we're actually expecting to see if gold can actually touch these lows, right? And also can it come to this, right? From here, from this moment going there, we're actually up into it, annotating it every single step, every single way, looking if the price can actually respect some of these things that are actually drawn in this chart. And looking at it, we can probably see that it did, like here, came back to this equilibrium. Okay, no, did not come to equilibrium, but came to this I fair value gap right there. Then came into this fair value gap, which we actually mapped beforehand. I think the price was actually around here, but we were actually away ahead of time, right? Because this is what we're actually looking at. So then the price started moving lower, right? Then it came back to this fair value gap right there, would turn into an I fair value gap, respected it perfectly. Then it started moving lower, right? And then if you can see here, you can see that this is a fair value gap which was actually respected also, by the way. And then the price started moving lower, right? If you can see here, you can see this is the first fair value gap, another fair value gap which was respected, by the way. Then the price started moving lower, right? As you can see also here, because on Nasdaq we also had that, all right, also had that thing, that jump, right, after the weekend, right? This is exactly what we're looking at. So on Friday we closed here, then on Monday, then we opened around here, then it started moving high, right, to where, to this fair value gap right there. Then we started moving lower, right? Then we started moving lower and lower and lower. But then what I'm actually looking at from this point this week, this is what I'm actually looking forward to see if it can happen, right? This is what I want to see. I want to see the point, my point of interest. I want to see the price reaching my point of interest, which is 4023,89, right? 4023,89, right? I want to see that. But before that, I want to see if the price can actually retrace back to this, because this is such a key thing for us to actually take into account, and to also understand that, is it really possible for the price to actually come here? It is possible, but because this is gold, man, come on, anything can happen. And just I want to see, but I want to see this. I want to see the price coming here first before I can actually reach my point of interest. I want to see that. I'm really interested in that. So and then we have this point of interest which we actually looking forward to, which is 3888,51, right? That's what I'm actually looking at. So let's move to 1 minute, just to save some time, so that like I can actually end this live stream. It's such a long stream. But looking at this price action for Friday, right, you can probably see that the price violated this during, or does not. So if you have your orders before on pre-market, then you are safe there, because New York Open does not actually violate gold that much, usually, most of the time, right? So as you can see that we had this buy side liquidity up there, which was actually crushed also as well. So the price went into it, then started moving lower, right, and then went all the way up. But on the pre-market, where would you have taken a position here? I'm just gonna give you some time so that like you can probably see that based on what I actually presented, right? Okay, just look. If you're not looking, just maybe pause the chart so that like you can see what I'm actually talking about. Okay, yes, exactly here, right? This is your entry right there. This is your entry. The price went high, into our first presented fair value gap, then that's your entry right there. Where's another entry here? Probably around here. Order block. Price went up during the New York Open, then started moving lower, right? Where also again here we have this fair value gap, we have this fair value gap which we respected, we have this fair value gap which we respected, then the price started moving lower, right? But if you actually aim for this, then you would have been dead, because that's not where the price was actually heading to. So the price moved from inefficiency, from liquidity to maybe inefficiency. Then from that point it started moving from maybe target the low, the higher highs, the lower lows, the relative equal lows, the relative equal highs. That's what actually price target most of the time, right? So as you can see, but Friday trading was actually bad because it was probably a holiday, so obviously it did not make any sense why you could trade on Friday, right? But if you're a junkie, you would have not a junkie per se, but so I hope you get the picture. So this is it. So from Monday, right, tomorrow, what are we actually looking at? I want to see if the price can actually, the gold price can actually reach back to this, right, to this level 4,234.31. I want to see if the price can actually reach to that before it can actually head down to 4,023.89. I want to see that first before anything else happen, right? I hope you guys actually did enjoy the stream. We're wrapping things up now, so this is it. I'll come back on Monday, maybe with a live stream or a pre-recorded session whereby I actually execute the trades on Nasdaq. I usually trade Nasdaq most of the time, so gold, I'm just looking at gold, but then I trade Nasdaq most of the time because that's what I actually understand the most, right? I do understand gold also, but then I'm more comfortable with trading Nasdaq, right? So I hope you guys did enjoy this. If you may, please like, subscribe, and comment maybe, and comment with the currency that you actually want me to actually cover on the next episode.